Purchasing a Tesla will probably be the easiest car buying experience that you will ever have. No dealers, no markups, no settling for just what's available. You place an order online, wait a little bit, and then you go pick it up. However, despite how seamless the experience is, there are still some mistakes I see people making, and I myself even made when first purchasing my Tesla. Especially the last mistake that we're going to be discussing, it could cost you literally thousands of dollars. So the first mistake that people make when buying a Tesla has to do with range. And that's that, well, you're worrying too much about it. The reason your gas car has to have a 400+ mile range is because in order to refuel, you have to stop at a place that you'd otherwise never go to. Like, you have to go out of your way. However, if you had a gas station at your house and could fill up every night, you probably wouldn't care about the range as long as it was enough to get you through your daily commute, which the average American has a daily commute of roughly 50 miles. And if you haven't picked up on it yet, the scenario that I just described is pretty much what you get when you buy a Tesla or any EV for that matter. You pretty much have a gas station at your house and you wake up every morning with a full tank. And if you're thinking that you need the longest range version because of your 1 or 2 road trips a year, I would think again. I would consider a road trip 1 to 2,000 plus miles. And at that point, you're already having to stop and charge multiple times anyway. And the 40 to 50 extra miles that the long range version will get you just isn't really going to make that much of a difference in the grand scheme of it. I understand that it's easy to get caught up in the range numbers, especially as a first-time EV owner, but I guarantee you after a few months, you'll realize you don't ever come close to using your entire battery. You're waking up every day with a full tank and you just stop caring. And something else I want to mention is your daily charge limit and how getting the lower range Tesla could actually net you the same daily range. If you purchase a Tesla with an LFP battery pack, so like the base Model 3, you can charge daily to 100%. Whereas if you get the long range or performance, then your daily charge limit recommendation is around 80%. The 80% mark being roughly the same range as the 100% on the base Model 3. So yeah, just be aware of that when deciding on range. Now with that being said, if you do plan to road trip in your Tesla, then you need to be aware of this next mistake: believing Tesla's advertised range. Tesla did recently update their estimated ranges to give a more accurate reading, but they're still not 100% accurate. The range you're seeing, in the States at least, is the EPA rating, which is a method of testing range. And of course, because Tesla wants to show the highest possible number, they're going to do the testing in literal perfect conditions. Take whatever range that Tesla is telling you you'll get and minus 20%. That's about what your real world range will be. Unless of course you have a foot made of lead or you live in an extremely cold climate, then minus like 30%. Now of course this won't really matter in your daily commute because of the whole waking up with a full tank thing that I just mentioned. This really only matters with road trips. Now the next mistake I see people making is not getting accessories or not realizing how bare bones Teslas come. Like Tesla used to include accessories with their vehicles, but because of cost saving measures, they no longer do. I'll have all the accessories that I use and recommend linked down below, but my top 5 are as follows. All-weather floor mats, preferably XPE ones because they're super lightweight, which means better efficiency, and they clean up a lot better than the thicker hard rubber ones. Organizer inserts. It's an EV, meaning you have more center console storage space, which is great, but that extra space is literally just a gaping hole that you will lose stuff in. Also, the cup holders without an insert suck, unless you have the new Refresh 3. A screen protector. No, not because I think you're going to crack your screen. That'd be kind of crazy if you did, though it would protect against that. But instead to protect against micro scratches, provide a better touch experience because of the oleophobic coating, and prevent glare if you opt for an anti-glare matte version. A phone mount, because the wireless charging pad isn't really the best spot to have your phone if you're trying to use it while driving. And by that I mean like for navigation, I don't mean texting. I recommend one that mounts to your dash. And this last one isn't a must-have, but it's something that I've recently picked up and have been loving it. Interior ambient lighting. Of course, if you have a Refresh 3, then this is pointless, but for everyone else, it really brings the cabin to life at night. Like the cabin in the 3s and Ys, non-Refresh 3, is very dark at night. The one that I have uses super bright edgeless LEDs. It's really easy to install, like under 5 minutes, has hundreds of color combinations and animations via an app on your phone, and it even has an auto on and off. Like I said, I'll have all this and more linked down below. And don't forget, you can use code YouTube, all caps, for 10% off at Test Stuff. Now, I just mentioned the Refresh 3, and that's the next mistake, just not knowing about the Refresh Model 3 and why. Which, if you're on YouTube, then you probably already know about the refreshes, but this is something you can relay to people not in the Tesla YouTube space. I've had quite a few in real life interactions where I'll be talking to someone and they're telling me how they're thinking about getting a Tesla, and when I mention the refresh, they have no idea what I'm talking about. Tesla updated the Model 3 in late 2023. It used to look like a smaller Y. It was first available in China and Europe for about 3 months, then eventually became available in North America at the start of this year, or 2024. It's all around a great refresh with a bunch of improvements. However, Tesla is only offering it in the base and long range version. The performance has yet to release, but is predicted to become available sometime before summer. The Model Y is set to follow the same path. A refresh in Asia and Europe later this year with an NA release sometime in early 2025. It is expected to include all the improvements the Refresh 3 brought with it. So just be aware if you're buying a super cheap used Model 3 right now, it's a legacy model. And if you're thinking of buying a new Y from Tesla, don't get me wrong, it's a great vehicle and you will more than likely love it, but it will be a legacy model come next year. The next mistake I see people making is not knowing what autopilot is and thinking that they need to spend the extra $12,000 to get full self-driving. Autopilot comes free with every Tesla purchase today and will keep you centered in your lane while slowing down and speeding up based on traffic around you and in front of you. Technically, it can be used on city streets, but you should really only use it on the highway. Autopilot is 99% of what you need, and if that's true for you, well then congrats, I just saved you $12,000. I can't tell you how many people I've had in my car either test driving or riding with me that think when I turn on autopilot that it's the $12,000 FSD. Full self-driving, on the other hand, does everything on screen here, and to be honest, excluding the steering on city streets, otherwise known as full self-driving beta, the only useful thing is auto lane change. Now, apparently Tesla is going to start giving out 1 month free trials to every new Tesla purchase today, which is honestly great for you because now you definitely don't want to spend the $12,000 up front because you can try it for free to see if you at least like it first. And even if you do end up really enjoying it, I still really can't recommend you spend $12,000, as Tesla offers a subscription for $200 a month. And doing the math, that means it would take you 60 months of buying it every single month to equal that $12,000. So you could subscribe on months you'll be traveling a lot and then unsubscribe and save on months where you won't be. Another reason to get the subscription is if you get a new Tesla, you can just cancel the one on your old Tesla and resubscribe on the new one. If you pay the full price up front, you can't transfer unless Tesla is running a special that allows you to transfer. So yeah, just be aware of that. Okay, so I briefly mentioned home charging and how convenient it is, which is the next mistake. Do not wait until after your car is delivered to figure out how you're gonna charge. I see way too many people that are about to buy a Tesla and are planning to just rely on the supercharger network. At that point, you're missing out on the best part of owning a Tesla or EV, never having to think about fueling or technically charging. Waking up every day ready to go, never having to take time out of your day and stop on your way home from work or going to work or whatever it might be. At the bare minimum, at least have a way to charge off of a 110. It may suck and be super slow, but assuming your daily commute is under 50 miles, then it'll be enough for you until you get something better. The absolute best solution for home charging is a wall connector. It can do up to 48 amps or 11 kilowatts / 44 miles per hour, has a super long connector, looks great, can be daisy chained to other wall connectors on the same breaker if you get additional Teslas in the future. It's great. However, it can be pretty expensive. The connector alone is over $400, and then you also need to pay for installation. But assuming you're not planning to move soon and your electrical situation in your home can handle it, I think it's the way to go. However, if you are planning to move soon, your electrical situation can't handle it, or you're just me and you're super cheap, then getting a NEMA 1450 outlet, otherwise known as a stove plug, will get you 80% of the wall connector speed. My NEMA 1450 install was sub $300 and gets me roughly 7 kilowatts or 30-ish miles per hour. I have an entire home charging video going over everything you need to know and the best options depending on your situation that you can check out. I'll have it linked down below. Now, what if I told you there was actually a way to get your home charger installation for free? And well, that's actually the next mistake, not checking for tax credits. Assuming you're a US purchaser, you're probably already aware of the $7,500 federal tax credit available on the Y and Long Range X. However, make sure you're checking your state level incentives. Tesla actually has a great tool that you can use to check this. Colorado, for example, has a $5,000 tax credit. Kentucky, where I live, has a tax credit of, let me see here. Oh wow, 0. But if you're looking for that free charger install, then make sure you're checking with your electric company on top of checking with your state. A lot of electric companies will give you a credit or a reimbursement for your EV charger install. And a bonus to further save you money, ask about on and off peak rates. They can save you a ton, assuming you can properly take advantage of them. Now, this next one is a mistake I made when I purchased my first Tesla, and I see people make all the time. Wanting the white seats, but buying the black seats because you think the white seats will get super filthy or are hard to clean. White seats are great for a few reasons. First, they make the cabin feel much more open. It's weird to explain, like, if you have the opportunity, drive a Tesla with black interior and then drive a Tesla with white interior and you'll understand what I'm talking about. Secondly, they attract like no heat. We've all experienced the scalding hot feeling of sitting down on a seat that's been baking in the sun. And well, with white seats, you don't have that problem. Not to mention white seats are just a staple. Like, is it even a Tesla if it doesn't have white seats? Whenever someone new gets in my car, the first thing that they always mention are the white seats. They always get so many compliments. And then they proceed to follow it up with, wow, I can never keep these clean. How do you keep them so clean? And then I respond, oh, I don't. I literally never clean them. They're used and abused and they still look great. And if you're curious what I do use when I do clean them, well, it's just fragrance-free baby wipes that you would buy at your local store, which fragrance-free baby wipes are pretty much just water and soap, which is what Tesla actually recommends that you use to clean the seats. I got black seats in my last Tesla and I regretted it probably like a month into ownership. So don't make the same mistake I did and just get the white seats if you want them. I promise you, you won't regret it. Now, this next mistake is hopefully something that you're not making, but just in case, make sure you're inspecting your vehicle upon delivery. I understand you're excited and you just want to drive it already, but take the time and inspect the car. Assuming you haven't been on the pickup lane for 5+ hours, they're not going to rush you or try and get you to move because, well, they want you to take the car, and while you're there, you're within your right to reject the car. I have an extremely, probably a little bit too extreme, but oh well, in-depth delivery day checklist for the Model 3 and Model Y. You can find it here on my channel, and it also includes a way to view it as an actual checklist so you can take it with you on your delivery day and like go down the list checking off as you go. And then the final mistake is something that I am seeing more and more of as of late. People taking bad deals on used Teslas. I actually have an entire video planned on the topic of used Teslas and what you need to know, but for this video, just please double check that you're not getting scammed. If you can get a new one after credits for the same price that you're about to pay for your used one, it's probably not a good deal. You have to remember that we just came off of all-time high prices, and people that paid those prices will say anything to convince you why their price is fair. For example, I recently saw my exact spec Model 3 for sale. It was a performance, it was a 22, black exterior, white interior, and the guy was wanting $45,000 for it. Whereas I'm selling mine, which has half the miles that his had, for like $10,000 less. And his reasoning was that his had ultrasonic sensors, which Tesla no longer includes because they're being cheap. And he also tried saying that the performance was discontinued. I mean, I guess technically both those statements are true, but it's not the whole truth. So make sure you're double checking that what you're buying is actually a good deal. I've had tons of friends and people that have seen used Teslas come down into their like price range, but they don't know that they can just go to the website and get a new one for almost the same price. You can find some really good deals on new Teslas or existing inventory, which is pretty much just new. It might just take you a little bit of time and patience. If there's a mistake that maybe you made or that you've seen other people make that I left out, well then drop it down in the comment sections for others and myself to see. If you're new around here and you want to see more Tesla related stuff in your YouTube feed, then feel free to subscribe. I'd appreciate it, and I will see you all in the next one. Peace.